Welcome to the Everything Podcast. I'm your host, Ben. And what is the Everything Podcast? It's anything and everything, something different every episode. So before we get on to what the first episode's about, let's look at what we've got coming up. So episode 2, the next episode will be DC based. Episode 3 will be based on Doctor Who. Episode 4, I haven't decided. Maybe email in. I'll tell you all about my contact details later on. And episode 5 at the moment is Marvel. Now, here's some other things that I do. So I have a website which you can go to, which is airedhuk.mynames.website. I also have a radio show that I do every Saturday, 6 till 8ish on Buckscat Radio. You can view that at buckscatradio.co.uk. Now, here's the contact details for the podcast. So, Twitter is the Everything Podcast, Instagram is Everything Pod C, email is everythingpodcast2022 at gmail.com. So again, that is Twitter is the Everything Podcast, Instagram is Everything Pod C, and email is everythingpodcast2022 at gmail.com. So yeah, this week's theme, if that may have given it away a bit, is grief, and that is because I lost my dad on the 11th of November 2021, so that was Remembrance Day last year, and it's coming to 5 months as this is being recorded on Wednesday, the 6th of April 2022, and yeah, 11th is Monday, so 5 days away. It's 5 months. And I'm trying to honour his memory every day. And just to make it crystal clear, as I said when I was mentioning DC, Doctor Who, Marvel, etc., this isn't a grief podcast. But if you do want to listen to a grief podcast, I would recommend Griefcast, as they've had guests including Robert Webb, Eileen B, and choose the ones that you know, or maybe the ones that maybe best fit your situation. So I'm going to go into the grief and actually how he passed away. So my parents were divorced. My brother and I went to drop our bags off for school for the days that we would be there. Normally would be a weekend, and we said see you later. My brother and I went to school. I came back from school and I didn't have a key to the house, so I had to ring my granddad to let me in. And we found him on the sofa pale and no evidence of having lunch. He'd passed away within 3 hours of me and my brother dropping our bags off, which was rubbish. Now the funeral was 7th of December, so three and a half, nearly 4 weeks later. That Thursday would have been 4 weeks. It was 26 days, which was quite a long time. So actually, on the day, my brother was very upset. I don't know if I was in shock or whatever, but I didn't kind of get it. So I wasn't tears. Same on the funeral, actually. I'd cried the day of the funeral, not at the funeral, but the morning, because it wasn't till midday and the day before as well. So it was really weird. Like I went to a university open day on the Saturday, so Saturday the 13th of November, so 2 days after. And I went to university. My auntie said, "Do you want to? We're clearing out the house of food. Do you want to come round?" And I was just in so many tears, and it was like, what's this? And then I was not very well, but I had school, went back to school on the Monday. So it was on the Thursday, didn't go to school on the Friday. Saturday and Sunday was obviously the weekend, so I went back to school on Monday. And I thought, oh, this is going to be all right. It's school. I enjoy school. My brother does not. And I was like, okay. So I went to school. I found it really difficult because I don't know why. And I had my first counselling that afternoon. The school were amazing. They first, the person who was in charge of it for my year wasn't in, so to my brother's year, so they sent me to that person. Said, "Do you want counsellor?" I said yes, and then we did that, and then done that every 2 weeks pretty much since. Obviously, it's Easter holidays at the moment, or it is for me. So yeah, that's why. And then, but I hadn't seen his family, so I saw he because my parents usually live 2 roads. So it's 2 roads away from where I am now, to my dad's house. So yeah, they my uncle and my auntie. So this is my dad's brother, and obviously my auntie, um, dropped me back here and was to keep in touch, that kind of thing. And then it was about a week, 2 weeks before the funeral, because I was trying to find out everything. Because this is the first time I'd lost anyone, like three grandparents that I have. I haven't lost any of them, thankfully, so far. So that's pleasant news. But I always say my grief went in reverse order, because my dad went, and then obviously his parents will go at some point. So yeah, that's gonna be a rubbish time. But as I was saying, yes, I got myself distracted there. So they were kind of sorting out stuff. About a week and a half, they said, um, "We've got this. What do you want to do?" And I didn't go to the house on that Saturday after the university. I was exhausted. This was a bit of a moment there, but up until that point, I'd been like numb pretty much. Well, that they say when you go through grief, you go numb, and I do agree with that statement. So yeah, that's that. Oh, and then went to the few. See, I've distracted myself 3 times there. So that's what we did. They got in touch with me, and then we went round 2 days before, and they would, because they live in Wales, I live in England, so it's a bit of a trek. So when they were driving me back, they were talking about see you Tuesday, because it was we went on the Sunday, the 5th of December, and yeah, the funeral was on the Tuesday. And on the way back, I've never suffered from panic attacks or any. I've had a few mental health issues in the past, but nothing to kind like during the COVID lockdowns, which I think most people did. But yeah, that was weird. So I had a what I would I just wasn't feeling great, and I just burst into tears. But I kind of did it internally because I didn't want them to see. And I still, to this day, nearly, well, 5 months later on Monday, I haven't cried in front of any member of his family. I don't know what it is, but that is right. And this isn't like, oh, I want therapy or whatever. I'm having counselling already, but I just think anyone who's going through, I'm on a grief grief Facebook group, and there's people that have lost people, like 3 people in a week or a month, and I'm like, I broke down over someone that I saw that morning. I have no idea if you were suffering and you saw that, if it was dementia or cancer, and you saw that person deteriorate. That must hurt so much. So just to reiterate, not a grief podcast. I'm gonna try and keep it happy, but like DC, Doctor Who, Marvel, those kind of things. I'm trying to keep it happy as possible. We are all things that my dad and I did together, so I'll be talking about them. And yeah, and if you have any suggestions, remember you can contact me by Twitter, which is at the Everything Podcast, Instagram, which is Everything Pod C, and email is everythingpodcast2022@gmail.com. Now it's every episode. Don't forget to do the weekly, fortnightly, because like the Marvel one is to coincide with the finale of Moon Knight. Doctor Who is Legend of the Sea Devils, which comes out Easter Sunday, which is a week on Sunday, but it's Wednesday. So yeah, that's why. So we'll see. Otherwise, I might switch it, because if it's every 2 weeks, do the Doctor Who next, then DC, then I'll do whichever one I want to do next. Remember, I also have a website, which is airdatesuk.mynames.website, which is all telly and film news. Well, not news, air dates and where they are. All right, because obviously US shows are like, where are they? So that's that. And I have the radio show every Saturday, 6 to 8 on Buck Scout Radio at Bucks Scout Radio .co.uk. So just remember, if you are grieving, I'm thinking of you, and just remember, please speak to someone, family member, friend, teacher, brother, sister, auntie, uncle, grandma, estranged third time once removed cousin. that kind of thing. So yeah, that is episode 1 of the Everything podcast. So I'm going to leave you with the outro, which is the same jingle as the intro. It is. Try everything.